All right, welcome to the Geek Corner. I'm live streaming. Haven't done that in a long time, so I figured I was due. Hope everybody is doing really well. Kind of out things over here. I got my laptop, kind of playing around with a little bit of new technology. Seems like every time I live stream, I'm playing around with new technology because I just don't do this all that often. So it's great to just be to geek out with you a little bit. What I thought, well, the reason I'm streaming is I was going to make a video to review the new Dragonlance book, Dragons of Fate. I just finished reading this. When did I finish reading this? 2 days ago. So it came out last Tuesday. I finished it this past Tuesday. It took me just under a week to finish reading it. And yeah, so I did an initial video giving my initial thoughts about the book. And so I figured I would just kind of come on here, do a live stream, and review and talk about the book. Now, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to do my absolute best to not do any spoilers. Now, there's a couple of things that aren't spoilers because it's the way the book was advertised. The book is about time travel. So right from the very, very first book, the first book that came out last year, Dragons of Deceit, they mentioned that it's going to have time travel. So sorry, my cat is being absolutely crazy here. Get down, kitty cat. There we go. Come here. Figures. Hey, how's it going there? Stephen, hope all is well with you. And yeah, it has been a while. We keep saying we're gonna connect, and we should definitely connect. It would be fun. Yeah, so I'm gonna really try to keep this book conversation as spoiler free as possible. Again, I got to talk about time travel because it is a huge part of the book, and so that's kind of the goal of the video today. So let's just kind of dive right in. This is the second book in the Dragons of Destiny, Dragonlance Destinies series. The first book came out last August, August 2023, which again was called Dragons of Deceit. I've got reviews of that book here on my channel as well. Honestly, with the first one, the first book. Yeah, Carrie, great. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Won't spoil the book for you, I promise. Definitely will do my best not to spoil it for you. When the first book came out last year, I got to admit, I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a fan of the book. It was just a little slow for me. Like literally the first 2/3 of the book was pretty dull, and then it really kind of picked up at the end, and I enjoyed the end and I liked the end. So I was hopeful going into the next one because of that. Yeah, that's awesome that you liked Dragons of Deceit. I think that's great. When I initially reviewed it, I think I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, just because I found, and I nitpick, it's just what I do. Slow pacing, spent much time going over the same stuff again and again and again. Like the number of times they kept describing Destina's clothing when she kept wearing the same outfit for the whole book. It's like, why do they keep describing this? And it also had a lot of bad editing stuff in it, like spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, different items about, they said they picked up one item, picked up a warhammer, and then attacked them with his sword. And there was like confusions with things like that. And I only nitpick this because my wife wrote a book 2 years ago, and so I get the editing process. It's long and it's painful, and so I know editors' jobs is really, really hard. So I'm not criticizing them for doing a bad job. I'm just kind of surprised at this level of a book that many stuff got through. So, hey, Mark, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, a little bit of a snooze, right? A little bit of a snoozer. It was very slow. And that's kind of the big thing I find with this series, especially as how it started. Dragonlance, the original Dragonlance. Now, this isn't the original covers. I kind of different Dragonlance covers. These are the old covers and then the new covers, things like that. It's almost like the Star Wars of fantasy. That's really kind of the best way to describe Dragonlance. It's fast, it jumps in, there's not a lot of exposition, and you look at the characters while the action is happening. This is Mittens. Say hi, everyone. I don't know why she's going absolutely nuts tonight. So it just didn't have that Dragonlance feel. It was slow and slow and slow and slow and slow. So that's why Dragons of Fate, I think, did a much better job. It felt a lot more like Dragonlance coming right out of the gate. It was fast-paced right away. There's conflict. And then you're kind of being introduced to some new characters in the tension of conflict, in the tension of war. It's Dragonlance. You got to have war, right? You can't have war without Dragonlance without wars going on. And so it just kind of felt a little bit more familiar that way. So I think this Dragons of Fate did a better job of capturing that initial Dragonlance feel. Right. Yeah. Here, comment here. I agree with your review. It's hard to measure up to Chronicle Trilogy, which are all going to be compared with. That's the drag of any of this stuff, right? We're all, especially fans. Like, this here is my Dragonlance collection here. I've got like 50, 60 different Dragonlance books. I'm a huge fan. We're always going to nitpick. We're always going to compare with the originals. And so I try to judge it on its own merit, but it's got to fit with the series, especially if you're making this equal to this, right? If this is a direct sequel to this book here, Test of the Twins, then it's got to flow. It's got to kind of connect in there. So Dragons of Fate, for me, did a much better job of out of the gate feeling more like a Dragonlance book. Now, again, gonna nitpick just a little bit. The editing on this one was a lot better. Still, again, not picking on the editors. I know how hard that job is. I get it. It's hard. But there's a couple of places where, and I noticed this stuff. I don't even know why I noticed it. I think it's because I read a lot, like where quotations were forgotten, where there was like just different little things like that. And whenever I find those things, I'm always kind of like, this is a $40 book. Like, it's like, it's like, come on, that kind of stuff. But it just kind of bugs me. But just get past that. I try to get past that and not let it kind of kill the story for me. But even it out kind of really feeling more like Dragonlance, then it started to become a little bit of a snooze for me again. It started to really slow down a little too much, and the tension that they were trying to create for me didn't land. It didn't hit. It didn't drive home for me, because I'm just looking for a different book up here as we're talking about it. I think I'm sorry, I still have it upstairs because I'm currently reading it upstairs. So, because again, it's about time travel. And again, I don't want to spoil anything, but as you're familiar with time travel, if you have read Dragonlance Chronicles, time in the world of Krynn, in Dragonlance, is very different than most other science fiction and fantasy time travel. Is time travel, you can't change time. Time is like a river, and if you pick a rock out of one place in the river and just drop it, whether in the past or in the future, it'll have a little bit of a ripple, but the river still flows, excuse me, where the river is going to go. And that was the tension of the Legends book, is Raistlin and Caramon found themselves trapped in this timeline and desperately needing to get out of it because they knew what their fate was going to be, because they had replaced other characters from the past, right? But then because Tasselhoff went back in time with them, and gnomes and kenders and dwarves are the races that were created by chaos, and so they're kind of outside of the regular time stream. So they have the ability to change time, and so the opportunity, because Tasselhoff is there, make that time change to change the future, right? And that's the whole premise, excuse me, of Dragonlance Legends. The problem with Dragonlance Destiny, especially in this book, Dragons of Fate, for me, the reason why it became a little bit of a snooze fest is because it's spending the whole bulk of the book going, did we not change time? Did we change time? Did we not change time? And it just wasn't compelling enough. The risk for me of them actually having changed time for the huge bulk of the book, I was never actually concerned that time was about to be changed. Okay. Now, again, I don't want to spoil this, so I'm not going to say what happened. The ending again of the book hugely picked up. Like, I really liked the ending of this. Really, really, really liked it. It honestly surprised me. It just did. It surprised me. I didn't think they were going to go there. And so surprised. But now, ending with such a massive cliffhanger, it leaves only two options for the third book that I'm assuming is going to come out of 2024. And the two options for that is they're rebooting Dragonlance, or two, there'll be an adventure and then it's just going to kind of go back to where it was, and it's not really going to have any kind of lasting change on the world. It'll have some change on the few characters that are involved, but that's about it. Whereas, see, Legends was powerful because the change that it had on Raistlin and Charon, this was, even though there were tons of characters in it and this huge world epic thing happening, at the end of the day, it's a story about brothers, right? It's a story about the twin brothers, Caramon and Raistlin. Whereas this, well, it started off being about Destina. Like in this first book, it was about Destina Rosethorn. She's the main character. It's all about her and her trying to go back in time to save her father because of everything that she lost. She's barely in this one. Like, it's not about her anymore. So then to jump in back into the third one and to make it about her again, I guess they could do that. They, with the original quest of stopping the death of her father, I guess that could be where it goes. It would just feel like an odd jump because of the huge way that this second book ended. And again, two options: complete total retcon of everything that's come out after Dragonlance Legends, or even a retcon of the original Chronicles and the original Legends. Now, for me personally, that would be the ultimate worst case scenario. Like, if to retcon Chronicles and Legends, that for me would be like just absolutely heartbreaking. Like, it really, really would, because these stories are just so dear to me. I mean, I grew up, I read these books when they first came out. Like, I think what Chronicles first came out, when was that? Like 1983, 1984, something like that. So I read these when they were brand spanking new. Yeah, the second one came out in 1985, Dragons of Winter Night. So yeah, they retcon those. It would be a little heartbreaking. So I don't think they're going to go that far with this to completely retcon that. But to retcon everything else, that wouldn't surprise me, because a lot of this other stuff is a little hit and miss. Now, I've not read everything, but I've working my way through it. And from different people that I talk to and other Dragonlance fans and other Dragonlance channels that I follow, I know not all of these are well liked. I really enjoyed Dragon of Summer Flames. I thought that was a good sequel. I liked the short stories of the second generation. I thought that was really good. I liked some of the standalone books that I thought those were really interesting. The Chaos Wars I haven't read. I've heard mixed reviews about that. Excuse me, the War of Souls. I heard a lot of people didn't really like that series too much. I've never read it, but I am planning on making my way through it. I think the next two books I am going to read. I think I'm going to read the Caramon and Raceland books. They're Brothers in Arm and Soul Forge. I think these are going to be the next two. I've never read them, but I think I'm going to dive in there next. So if they want to retcon all of that stuff, get rid of the Chaos Wars, get rid of the Grey Gem and things like that, I don't think a lot of people would complain about that. That might actually work, and they could do something interesting and new. They could potentially tie it back into the role-playing game, come up with modules, kind of make it a little bit more aligned with the role-playing game. That could be cool, in my opinion. I'd give that a shot. So, but again, I haven't read them all. So, hey, Mark, thanks for stopping by. Don't let them retcon Bridgemaster King, Kev. That Draconian is too cool to change. Bridgemaster King. I don't know. I don't think. Do I have that? What book was that in? Is that a? I'm not too sure which one that is. If you put that in the chat, that'd be helpful to give that a read, because that name that's not ringing a bell for me. So because I know, was that in the Villain series? I know I've got all the books in the 7 or 6 books in the Villain series that I haven't read yet. So maybe, yeah, let me know, Mark, where that comes from. So I'll check that out. So he's the main guy in Doom Brigade. Got that one. Buy these in bulk from like secondhand bookstores, so I haven't gone through them all yet. So, okay, well, I'll check that one out. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, so I get it. There's this tension of retconning, right? But feels like it's coming. It just does. Be pleasantly surprised if they don't retcon it. But it just seems to be the way most people are trying to revitalize a lot of these IPs, these intellectual properties from the 80s and 90s. They just got to retcon them. They just got to do some new things. And you know what? As long as it's Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman that are playing around in this world again and experimenting and writing some new stuff, I'm willing to give it a shot. So, Dragons of Fate, better than the first book, much better than Dragons of Deceit, feels more like Dragonlance, has more tension than the first book did, hooked me finally by the end, hooked me at the beginning, lost me in the middle, hooked me back into it at the end. It's going to be a long year waiting for the next book to come out. So I think kind of my final score for this one, if I were to score this, again, the original one, I only gave it 2.5 out of 5. I think I'd give this one a 3.5 out of 5. Again, just nitpicking a little bit of the editing. And again, a lot of the middle part was, oh, did we change time? Or did we not change time? Did we change time? Did we not change time? Did we change time? Did we not change it? It's like, how many times do you have to ask the same question? Just like, come on, move on. Could cut quite a few chapters out of it. So that's kind of my thinking about this book here. Glad I got it. Enjoyed it. Looking to see where it goes. So that's what I want to do. Just kind of an initial review of the book here. Not initial review, just a review of the book here. And so that's going to be it. I'm currently cleaning up and working on my channel, so I really appreciate all of you who come by and stop part. My internet's doing some weird stuff here. Come on, show. Thanks your comment. I can't play it. One of the coasts has eliminated half races, so what does that mean? Tennis has Yeah, see, I got the D&D 5th edition book Christmas, and I've yet to play. I haven't played D&D since college. I did get the books. My son has been playing him with him and his buddies. They really have a good time. So I was hoping to get back into it. Um, Half races, but I can't imagine that's gonna cross over into Kryn. If it does, that'd be brutal. You really don't have dragons, right? Excuse me. Oh, you know what? I think the problem with my internet is, yeah, that's the problem. I'm connected to my, just one sec. Holy. And I'm back. There we go. There we go. Don't touch your Wi-Fi when you're live streaming. I've got a booster upstairs, and I was working upstairs, and computer was still connected to the booster instead of the router, which is over there. Technology. There you go. My apologies. What was I saying? Yeah, that's a great point about Tannis Half Elven. So again, I've got the Warriors of Kryn. I've got the Dragonlance book, the Shadow of the Dragon Queen over there. I've been reading them, looking forward to playing it. I think the module needs a lot of tweaking to help it feel a little bit more like classic Dragonlance, and I guess that's why they're doing the classic Dragonlance, to differentiate it between Dragonlance and what Wizards of the Coast is doing now with Dragonlance. But yeah, that's an interesting point for sure about that. So yeah, as I was saying, so I'm doing a lot of cleaning up in the channel here. I'm going to try to get a lot more regular posting here. Going to be focusing a lot on some Dragonlance, some D&D stuff, getting back into my miniature painting as well, and have a lot of fun with that. Also, I'm going to put the post to my other YouTube channel that where I kind of do my coaching and my leadership stuff and fitness stuff is over there. So if you are interested in that, you could find the revitalized coaching over there. And exactly, Mark. You just name him Tannis, kind of elven. He's kind of maybe somewhat elvish. Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to handle the problem. Kind of elvish. Exactly. Yeah, so again, really appreciate you being a part of the community here. I share this all the time, and the descriptions, the link to the description, I like to be honest and transparent about it. When people say, why do I do YouTube? You know what? I do it for kicks and giggles. I do it to find people like you and to just geek out together. And the fact that I make like, $35 a month off of YouTube, it's a bonus. But I actually use all the proceeds from YouTube to support kids in Guatemala through Compassion Canada. So any extra funds that come in, whether it's through membership, whether it's through the ad revenues, super chats, all that stuff like that, it all goes 100% to kids in Guatemala. And I'm going to have some other fun things. I think what I'm going to do, and I got to talk about this with my wife, but we're doing this special fundraiser called Play Day for the nonprofit organization that my wife works for. And I think I might do 12 hours of streaming the old gold box Dragonlance Champions of Kryn video game. Don't hold me to that yet, because that sounds insane, but I might actually give that a try as for their fundraising play day that they're doing. So we'll see about that. So yeah, if you've read the book, put that down in the comment section. Would love to hear your thoughts of Dragonlance, Dragons of Fate. You feel you're getting a retcon? Do you feel like we're going to be getting something new, or they're just going to be, they're going to go back, solve all the time travel problems, and just kind of continue with all the other books? What do you think is going to happen? I would love to hear your thoughts. So that's it for the stream today. Nice, quick, short one. I got to go to bed because I get up early. But until the next video, God bless you, everybody, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks for coming by.